Good morning, everyone. It's Tom Sydney Bushnell, aka Numbers, here from Sight Club and from the Tom Numbers Show. And I've got Mr. ISMAEL Perez for part three of conversations with ISMAEL and Tom. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing really good, my friend. I've been staying really busy. I just finished the additional chapter for my book, and I'm going to be doing a new edition at the end of the month with an additional chapter that is going to totally leave everybody in suspense about the next coming book. So I'm excited about that. I'm also preparing to go on a road trip sometime in mid-November for about 2 weeks. I'm going to be traveling across the United States, and I'm excited about that. We're trying to launch my book in all of the bookstores out there, Barnes and Noble and Borders. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot of book signings in, different Barnes and Noble and Border bookstores throughout the country.
Excellent.
I'm looking forward to that.
What parts of the US are you planning to go to?
At this point, I still don't know. I have to kind of plan and schedule everything out with bookstores. But as soon as I find out, I'm going to let everyone know in case people want to go and get a book signed or, just me in person.
That'd be cool, man. That's awesome. Well, I've been traveling around as well. And so currently I'm in Vegas. Prior to that, I was in South Dakota, and I'm about to head off to Utah today. And I'm going to spend some time with some good friends there. And I'm contemplating this. I'm contemplating going out to Hawaii. I've never been, but because I'm kind of on the west side of the US, I'm thinking, well, flights aren't too bad. It's not too far. So I'm contemplating that. So I might do that. So anyone from Sight Club family, if you want to meet up either in Utah and or Hawaii, send me an email at welcome.to.psych.club@gmail.com, and who knows, maybe we'll be able to. I've been able to meet a few cool people along the way. So keep your ears and eyes posted on ISMAEL's book tour around the US, and anyone Utah or Hawaii, then send me an email. Maybe we'll be able to meet up, and even suggestions on the best island. People have said Maui for like a beginner's one. So I don't know. So, all right, my man. Well, so what have we got today? What are we going to discuss today?
I would like to actually clarify some misinformation regarding the galactics that is circulating on the internet by some of the so-called galactic emissaries or contactees. It's been brought to my attention by various people that there are a few people out there that are claiming that the Pleiadians are actually the villains in our galaxy, and that they're the reason why we are oppressed, and they're the forces behind the cabal. And I just wanted to say that is a bunch of nonsense. The Pleiadians are actually our number one ally. They out of all the different galactic races, they are the ones that have pretty much intervened in ancient times throughout all of history in our favor. If we go back in the times of Atlantis, and as we read in mythology, they were actually the Olympian gods, the demigods, their children that were half Pleiadian, half human, were the heroes of old that used to fight these monstrous looking creatures that were genetically made by, of course, Enki and those that were trying to, create the abominations during those days. And in recent times, they are the ones that are assisting us from behind the scenes, the main race. They work very intimately with the Earth Alliance and the White Hats. In fact, a lot of the White Hats are a combination of Pleiadian forces, some Andromedan, some Lyran, some Arcturian, but mainly Pleiadian, that are actually working with the White Hats here in our world. And so I just wanted to clarify that, they're actually the good guys in our galaxy, the primary race. If people want to know who the villains are, the villains are the Draco, and they hail from Alpha Draconis and Sigma Dracoians in the lower belt of Orion. In addition to that, we also have the Naboo. We also have the Ebens and of course the Greys and the Zetas, which come from Zeta Reticula 1 and 2 in the Rombola system. And also another group that is considered negative are the Mantis and the Insectoids, which actually come from a different galaxy, from a planet called Vetra. Those are the enemies in our galaxy. Those are the ones that the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Andromedans, and all the other 200,000 star systems that comprise the Galactic Council have been, waging a war in defense of our Milky Way galaxy for, perhaps even a few billion years. That's how long these galactic wars have been going on. But we are now in a position, Tom, where they narrow the battle down to just this planet, where they, are keeping them kind of quarantined in our solar system because of the great solar flash that is about to take place. And that solar flash is going to nuke them. And whatever regresses are still looking around because they're in hiding right now. The Earth Alliance and the Galactics have already completely neutralized their infrastructure and their control over our planet, by taking the power back from Saturn, taking the power back from the moon. And of course, the 100 and something space stations that we have scattered throughout our solar system. So, I just wanted to defend our brothers and sisters from the Pleiadians because they are, they're and many of times, my friend, they've actually sacrificed their lives in order to preserve the human race here on the earth. And they've done so much for us. Some people believe that they were the angels in the Bible that actually appeared to the family of Abraham and Lot in the warning of Sodom and Gomorrah. And then, of course, the vision and the encounters that the Old Testament prophets had, like Ezekiel, Elijah, they were all Pleiadians. The Pleiadians were the messengers from above. And so I just wanted to give, correct this misinformation that the Pleiadians are the evil ones. That is completely misinformation. They're actually our number one ally, brother.
Excellent. I thought so. I've always felt that with the Pleiadians, even the name we call it, probably around the world, but in the UK we call it the Seven Sisters. And I always used to enjoy looking up into the stars and seeing that. And even my channel, Psych. So Psych comes to 71, PSYCH in the numbers. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, the order of the alphabet, and the corresponding number to it. So Lady Diana is 71, which is Psych, not 871, but the actual two words. And even Pleiadian and Pleiades, both of those words come to 71. So I was like, okay, I'll take that. And club is 38 gold, balance as well. So like the balance kind of force in the universe. The added together is 109, which comes to Diana Spencer. It comes to the word 17, and it comes to Zapruder, as in the JFK film. So there's a lot of, even the word trillion, President Trump talked about trillions, and there's things like that with RVs, hopefully. So, there's a lot of good values behind it. And I've always thought that. People say that Melania is a Pleiadian. She looks off-world, beautiful, and I'm sure a lot of them are. I met Ivanka, and she was definitely off-worldy. So, that makes a lot of sense to me. Did you think a lot of us, I don't know what I am. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm Tom, but I don't know what I am. Can you get hybrids? Could you get like Pleiadian and maybe Andromeda? Can you get mixes?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I teach in my starseed cosmology course. After identifying the different star races and their qualities and characteristics, it is believed that a lot of the starseeds down here are actually a mixture or a hybrid of different star families. But we all have a primary star family where our original incarnation in this universe began. And of course, in that case, because Lyra is the cradle of all human societies. I mean, after the first galactic wars with the Draco, there was this event called the Lyran expansion. And then that repopulated not only our Milky Way, but other galaxies within our universe with human-like beings. So you could say all of our ancestry comes from Lyra. So in the sense, all of us here on this earth had our origin in Lyra. And of course, the process of reincarnation, many of us had different lifetimes, like say in Orion, perhaps even in Sirius, in Arcturus, and of course the Pleiadians, so we could all be hybrids, but a lot of people like to, associate with one particular race because of the fact that they had most of their incarnations in that particular star cluster. So there are a lot of starseed Pleiadians, and I think you could be one of them, Tom. I think you could be Pleiadian.
maybe. I've got a feeling as well about Arcturians. Are they a good group?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, the good guys are, just to name a few. Of course, there's hundreds and hundreds of different species out there that are that sit within the Council of the Confederation or Galactic Councils. 75% of what comprises the Galactic Councils of the Federation forces are humanoid. And what I mean by humanoid, they're human-like. In other words, they look like us, we look like them. And the other 25% consist of, like, bird-like people, felines, of course, cetaceans, bipedal cetaceans that could actually live on land as well as in water. Those are the ancestors of the modern day dolphins and whales. And then, of course, we also have a representative with a hominid body and representing every animal that we have here on this planet, with the head of that animal equivalent represented in the Galactic Council. So our Galactic Council is comprised of all these different galactic races and specimens that are actually working together to, with one common goal, and that is to bring about balance and harmony throughout the galaxy. So the main ones are obviously the Pleiadians. They are our number one allies. We also have the Andromedans.
Yeah.
The Andromedans are, like, you could say, our second ally. We also have the Arcturians and the Sirians. The Sirians and the Arcturians are like our third allies, but the Sirians and the Pleiadians and the Larians are like what they are in our galaxy. They're called they're part of the galactic arm of our galaxy that is associated with the light forces. Of course, the Arcturians represent a midway council of different galaxies because they are a ninth dimensional collective. That's how advanced the Arcturians are. And many believe that the Sirians are actually a 12th dimensional or 11th dimensional collective. So in our galaxy, or let's just say, in our galaxy, the Pleiadians are the Sirians are the most advanced galactics. But besides them, we also have felines. We also have blue avians or bird-like people. We also have.
Would they be like Avatar? Those characters?
Yeah, that's one of an example of what a blue avian looks like.
Avian's Avatar. Okay, yeah, it makes sense with the words. Okay.
So overall, we have all these different races that are assisting us. And it's most of them are humanoid. And that's one of the things that I reveal in my book, is that humans on Earth share a cosmic ancestry throughout the multiverse. That there are many human-like beings that exist in the entire universes. So Adam and Eve didn't originate here. That was a deception of grand proportion. Adam and Eve actually originated during the first creation, going back to 900 billion years ago in the first universe that came to be. And the beings that have already completed and ascended in that universe are actually known as the Paladorians. So the Paladorians are among the oldest races out there, who actually come from the first universe that already reached completion, billions of years. The Paladorians.
Okay. Excellent. It's exciting to think of all these. I guess we all knew it before, but it's exciting to feel that the other races, other possibilities out there. Yeah, and I guess in time, maybe we're getting revealed already, but maybe it'll become clearer and just like talking to anyone. I hope so. I hope it gets to that. I think it goes that way eventually.
Absolutely.
What do you feel in terms of the picture here on Earth right now, Ismael, with where we're at? So things like President Trump has been talking in rallies, he's basically kind of baiting the other side, saying, charge me, arrest me. I was talking to 107 just a day or two ago, and he feels that something in October is going to kick off, something is going to happen visually that the world will see. I wonder if you've got any kind of thoughts or impressions on kind of where we are in October going into November. Happy birthday as well. Your birthday is 1st of November. So, any thoughts on kind of the just where we're at now, and things that may kind of transpire in the next kind of days, weeks, couple months time?
So, the white hats are in full control. Everything that's happening on a geopolitical stage is all being orchestrated by the white hats, so that Trump could negotiate some sort of a peace treaty with Putin, which is already being orchestrated from behind the scenes in order for him to win a Nobel Peace Prize. So the rumors that he's going to get arrested, it's actually not true. It's the other way around. In fact, a couple days ago, there was a bulletin that was put out by the New York Post that says that the incumbent in the White House with his son, right? Hunter and Biden, that family. They have evidence now. They have the evidence that incriminates them, that covers years of corruption with, what's with the Ukraine government and what's been going on over there. And it says that with this evidence that these people are going to actually be tried for treason against the Republic. So if anything, what we should be expecting in this, what they call the Red October month, is a massive arrest of the bad guys, perhaps even EBS, followed by, of course, the new system with with the new currency that is being set up by the White Hats, and of course, following thereafter, first contact with the Galactic Federation, hopefully by 2023. Because like I said in my book, I saw a vision that by the year 2024, our Earth was already going to be part of some sort of new world structure involving a peaceful interaction with galactic beings. So we'll see how it unfolds, but that's my prediction. My prediction is that only good things are going to be happening. All this scare statements about nuclear war and all that stuff is just part of the fear porn mongering, and that is never going to be allowed, because of the fact that the galactics are in key position to make sure that nobody presses the red button. And if they do, they will neutralize all the nuclear facilities. So all that stuff, it's just all fake news. Like, I wouldn't really, at this point, I would just tell everybody, shut your television off. Don't listen to anything, go within yourself and only focus on the things that you want to create in life. Only focus on the things that you want to see happen. And because, the fifth dimensional Earth is already here. It's just, all we have to do is raise our frequency so that we can begin vibrating and match the frequency of the new grid pattern that is already unfolding. So, yeah.
Yes, I wanted to be here yesterday. So, to experience it yesterday. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens in October. I guess even if something did happen visually with Trump, I'm fully on board that the White Hats are in control, and it may be a mechanism, but I guess time will tell with all of it. We'll see what actually happens. But even if something does kind of visually look not the best for the Trumps, I think it's maybe just the art of war, and they're drawing them in to do a big flip. But we'll see. Maybe nothing like that will happen. Let's wait and see. And I concur exactly with the nuclear threat, that would just be a threat, and it wouldn't be something that would be real. So, and then, so going into 2023, let's talk about the solar flash. What's your feel? I know we've said basically between now and 2024. Do you get any markers that maybe something like that could happen this year, or would it be kind of early, maybe first half of 2023, or we're going to go to 2024? What do you feel at the moment?
Well, due to the massive CMEs, M-class flares, X-class flares, and even C-class flares, they say, due to the fact that they're coming in even stronger and stronger. I mean, there are scientific measurements that the current electromagnetic field of the planet is in decline, and it's to the point where it's almost at zero, which means that we're getting ready to shift, Tom. The electromagnetic field is what's been holding on our reality for thousands of years. So as soon as there is a flip in the magnetic pole fields, there is a change and a reset.
That'll be a switch of it, yeah. A flip.
Yeah, switch. But it's not going to be unleashing massive cataclysms as it has done many of times in the past, because this time is different. This time the galactics are actually assisting us by putting into place some sort of a emergency rescue bubble, where they use an advanced electromagnetic technology to avert the pole shift in the event that the poles do shift, so that way we could have more of a smooth and healthier transition and not have massive earthquakes and tsunamis worldwide. So we have nothing to worry about. I mean, everything is, as long as we do our part, Tom, as long as we continue, co-creating our reality, bringing information out there, waking the masses, the galactics have our back. It's a collaborated team effort from us, because we are also White Hats, believe it or not. Me, you, Michael, Jaco, Terabyte, Janine, and all the truthers out there that are bringing forth information. We are part of the White Hats. See, most people think that the White Hats are just a military operation that is taking place, from behind the scenes by the good guys that are battling the cabal, but that's not the case. The truth of the matter is that we are all part of that team. Every single one of us is the White Hat.
Yeah, definitely. I felt that. I mean, no one came and tapped me on the shoulder, like physically, but I did get a kind of a spiritual tap on the shoulder early 2020, that I had to stand up and be counted and do my part. And it's been a great ride since. It's been a few bumps, but by and large, it's just been amazing. And you say as well, two words, White Hat. White is 65, and hat is 29, which is AUG. It's on. it's Diana as well, but you add them together as 94. That comes to John John. It comes to Third Eye, and it comes to Ace of Spades, and it also comes to November, and we're moving into November very soon. October 78, Kennedy. 94 is John John. December is 5-5, which is Melania, which is Heaven, which is JFK JR. So, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, we're all part of the white hat thing for sure. So maybe it'll be sooner. Maybe, well, I say sooner. Maybe it will be as quickly as maybe we're anticipating. Maybe we'll have the Great Victory Parade very soon. That would be awesome, because something's coming. The whole thing with the competition, I'll call it, of 2020. 2020 it was. It's almost been 2 years of this. Something's coming. Even kind of biblically, there's some terms that talking about having your calling and election made sure. So I can talk about that as a scriptural thing. But that comes to 246, which comes to the phrase "in the twinkling of an eye." That comes to Diana, the Princess of Wales, 246. So there's these nice numbers. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, Ismael, but one of my favorite film directors, Christopher Nolan, who I believe is a white hat director, he did a film, Tenet, in 2020, talked about inversion and time travel and how the white hats and dark hats have been kind of doing their thing, and how the white hats, change events and are able to correct things. But there's an early part of the film where the protagonist, John David Washington, his name is, and he slides under a table, gets a coat check in a theatre, in an opera theatre, and you see it just for a moment, split second, but he grabs something. He grabs the coat because it's containing a package that's important, and the word coat check is 69, which is financial. It's people, so all of us people, bringing this together, but also checkmate, end game. But he grabs it, and the number of it is 246. So I noticed that in the film. I was like, 246 is a real beautiful number. And then that's like a 246 is a third of 369, the Tesla numbers, So it's interesting. And I've always wondered about the phrase having your calling and election made sure. So it's like we were kind of called, in different ways to do this. Some of us might have been told to personally go and do this, but we kind of felt things intuitively. We had downloads, we had experiences, and our higher self was telling us to do whatever we needed to do, which we've been doing. So I've always liked those phrases and that phraseology. Maybe it's as soon as we hope. That'll be awesome. Because I think we're ready. At least I feel like we're ready. So
yeah, it's always good to be prepared, because it seems like the solar flash could be anytime now or by the end of this year. Things really, they say that things hit a climax where things appear to be getting worse, but as part of the old paradigm, the old system collapsing, and then of course that gives way to the reborn of a new system, or the emergence of a new system.
When we experience the solar flash, will we physically see anything? Like, will it be a light in the sky? Will it be a literal flash, or will it be more of a conscious, energetic thing? Or will we get a physical background or physical foreground to it as well?
It's going to be both. It's going to be something that's going to take internally, and then something that's going to be seen by the masses externally. So as far as like seeing a great light in the sky, that could be the case, because like you said, it is going to happen in the twinkling of an eye. We are going to be transformed. We're going to be changed. We're going to go from limited consciousness to full consciousness in a blink of an eye. So what that means is that the veil will be lifted. And for the first time in thousands of years, humanity are going to be seeing things for what they really are. So, and we're going to start seeing aliens, because see, the different extraterrestrials already walk among us. The reason we don't see them is because they're in the fifth dimension and up or fourth. But as we get closer to the shift, we're going to be able to see that they have been walking among us forever. So yeah, it's almost like the third eye, the pituitary gland, as well as the pineal gland. The pineal gland and the pituitary gland are going to come online, and when that comes online, the other part of our brain that is currently not operating is going to activate, and then that's when we're going to be connected through the 10 strands of DNA that are going to come back online. We're going to be connected to the other dimensions.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's how we connect to other dimensions is through our genetics, our dormant DNA.
Okay. Yeah, that's wow. You said as well about so on the numbers. So solar flash, solar 65, flash is 46. So solar flash is 111, which is perfection. It's also the Kennedy. It's also Magic October. Magic October is 111 solar flash. It's also New York, and I believe that we'll see a lot of visual representation of things going forward in New York, where I got my first download on numbers when I met Ivanka Trump and met two other people with the same date of birth as my cousin. His date of birth was 118. Their date of birth was rare as well. There might have also been a 119 in there. But yeah, 111. And then if you do the solar flash, that takes you to 144, which comes to 144, but comes to digital soldier. But also, I think you may have said this or someone else about the 144,000 is a frequency. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a frequency, and it has to do with genetic strands.
Okay.
So yeah, we're the only species in the multiverse that is given the opportunity to assemble up to 144 strands. Of course, as we go up in increments, we're going to start with 12. However, some of us that are like the oldest of souls are going to go from 12 to 24. A smaller number of us are going to go to 36 strands, and then a very small percentage of us are going to go to 48 strands. And that's going to be like different levels of upgrade. So not everybody's going to have the same power. Some people are going to be more powerful than others.
Okay.
But ultimately, in time, as we continue to progress and use more genetic material, there are going to be in the future, of course, a small group of us are going to be able to assemble up to 144 strands, and eventually everybody else will catch up.
Yeah, set the path. Well, 48 I'll take as well, because 48 is my name, Tom, which is why I like that one. But you said so that's interesting, the frequency. So it's not 144,000 people, it's a frequency. Or could it also be 144,000 individuals as well, or is it just purely the frequency expectation?
It could be, because some esoteric sources talked about the return of 144,000 oversouls.
Okay.
Oversouls are beings that are like 13 or 15 dimensional.
Okay.
The cosmic beings. So some believe that they're going to act as the core of the starseed nation. So the starseeds are numbering now in the millions. I think there's over 60 million starseeds now, but we're still considered a minority compared to the 8.8 billion people on the planet, which 30% of that are NPCs, by the way. They're just kind of background people generated by the Matrix to make our lives a living hell.
Yeah.
We run into these people, of course. They have no aura, they have no energy, they're just cold.
Yeah, I know. And so I've noticed how some of them kind of look at you as well. Yeah, that's a very curious one. So talking of the 144,000, we're going actually, well, the two lines of thought. So if we go to, 144 is the solar flash, but if you add the word great, which is 51, which is Sarah, Batman's 51. So if you add those together, that comes to 195, which comes to the guy that I just mentioned, Christopher Nolan, the great film director. So I think he's probably part of that cluster of high vibrating souls, because the films he produces are just masterpieces. It's almost like someone. I did a show with Janine about it a few weeks ago, and she said that he's the recipient of these film scripts from the future, and then he puts them together, which I thought was fascinating. But then this is really interesting. So the 144,000. So if you just do 144, the word 1,000, if you spell it out in the numbers, comes to 102. So if you do 144 plus 102, so 144,000, but the word 1,000 is 102, that actually comes to 246. That special number that we've just been talking about as well. So, which is in the twinkling of an eye. Calling an election made sure. So you're calling, but then there's the election element, and I think it's a metaphor for higher things than just what's the competition that's been going on the last couple of years. And it's like I said, it's a third of the 369. So the other part of it is 123. 123 is silver plus gold. It's Abraham Lincoln, Eric Trump as well, who I met just a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, very good correlations on the number with 144,000. That's awesome. Yeah, 246. Brilliant. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mhm.
You're able to put it all together with numbers. You know, that's a gift, Tom. That's your gift. And thank you for blessing us with that beautiful gift of associating things with numbers. Because, you know, as you know, numbers, mathematics is a language that is used across the many universes. You know,
Yeah.
so many believe that mathematics is probably the primary common thing that every race out there has, you know, because everything is linked to a number. In fact,
Yes.
the entire structure of the multiverse, as far as like the organization of universes, galaxies, constellations, systems, and worlds, you know, everything has a Stargate number. Everything is well organized within the tapestry of the higher spheres. Every planet, every system has a number. As I mentioned in my book, you know, our Stargate number is 753, 84, 70, 24, and 606. And the reason
That's the number. Let's
that's the
take me
that's
through that one again. Let's have a look, Ishmael. Say that again, please, buddy.
so it's from the top down. We are part of the seventh segment of the super universe of Orvonton. So we're seven.
Yeah.
Within the super universe of Orvonton, we are part of the fifth major cosmic sector known as Splandon.
Okay.
That we're part of the third minor cosmic sector known as Ensra. Within Ensra, we're part of the 84th local universe known as Nebadon. And then within that, we're part of the 70th constellation known as Sirius. And then within that, we're part of the 24th system known as the Pleiades. And then within that, we register as planetary 606.
606.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 736. Let's have a look. So that, doing those sectors, it just adds up to 736. Okay, well, this is a good one. I can see this. So if you just do the overlap of those numbers, so 736, which is all those sectors you added like that, that comes to, so 73. Sometimes you can do an overlap. So 736, you can get a 73 and a 36.
No, it's 753, the top three.
75. No, sorry. No, I've got that. When you just said
we're
doing, you went 7 and then 5 and then 3 and then another one and then 24. I think there was a 24 and then an 84 and a 606. So what I've done is each kind of strata you've done, I added them all up. So that comes to 736. The 73 overlap with a 36. You can separate them. That 73 plus 36 is actually 109, which spells out the word 17, which is interesting, which is cute. But let's have a look at this in another way. So 736 take away 369 gives you okay, that's cool. Let's do that one again. 736. When I get a large number, I like to work back with bigger numbers and just kind of see what remains, but it's just kind of fun to see what comes out of it. 369 take away okay, well, that's interesting. So 736 take away 369, the Tesla numbers, and then take away 245, which is a date coming up, actually, October 22nd. Gives you 122, which is American First, which is Millennium. There's a number of things that come up with that. That's cool. Yeah, I'll go into that a bit more. 369 take away. So look at this. That's interesting. So you can get 369, you get Ivanka Trump, if you take away 369, you get 192, which is Ivanka Marie Trump, which is Governor's Island, which is a prophecy on with the millennium happening. The Chinese elders and Steve Bannon spoke about that. And then you get 175, which is consciousness, which is Diana Francis Spencer as well. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so there's a lot of, you can kind of have a look at a lot of things with that, but that's cool. So we've got all those grid references of where we are in the universe. That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's how these higher intelligences from like higher spheres beyond our galaxy into higher, sectors of the universe are able to travel at the speed of light to any planet, any universe, any star system, any constellation within a second. All they do is they plug in a Stargate. Because it's the way the universe is organized is that we have the mother universe, the always existing realms, right, which has never began. which has never been created or destroyed. They just are. That first divides into 7 segments, and that's when we get the sacred number 7, right? Seven mighty archangels, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And each segment is 1/7 of the grand central creation. Within each super universe, that's what they're called. Each segment is called a super universe. It further divides into cosmic major sectors, and I think each super universe has a total of 10 cosmic major sectors. And then each major cosmic sector further divides into 100 minor cosmic sectors. And then each minor cosmic sector further divides into 100 million organized local universes. And then each local universe further divides into 100 constellations. And then each constellation further divides into 100,000 systems. And then each system has approximately anywhere between 600 to 1,000 worlds.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's how everything's organized with a Stargate number.
That's amazing. That's brilliant. Well, thanks for saying that about my gift. I think there's others developing as well now, but numbers is definitely, it's almost, well, numbers, I'm not even a great mathematician, I wouldn't say. I'm good at associating things, and the numbers kind of like a thread to thread it on. But thank you for your gift and your gifts of what you're bringing now, Ismael. It's incredible. But one of the phrases that popped out in my head when you just were going through all that, you said about the super universe. So I was like, super is 79, which I know. And then universe is 113. Makes me think of 11.3. It's also the word trumpet, which is 11.3. But if you add those together, it's a number that I just mentioned just a couple of seconds, well, just a minute or two ago, 79. So super, and then universe, 113 comes to 192, which comes to Governor's Island, and it comes to Ivanka Marie Trump, and it comes to some other things as well. But anyway, it's just fascinating how the numbers pop up. It's like the synchronous, because none of this is planned between you and me. We just go in and we play with our knowledge, and numbers and things pop up. So yeah, that's really cool. So we're going to expand, aren't we? Because the universe is always expanding. We're going to expand into so at the top level, if I remember right, is 15, and we're going to go into that building up to the 18th level now. Is that right?
Yes. The motherverse is expanding into dimensions 16, 17, and 18. So as we go up, everything else above us goes up even higher. And that's how it all works. And that's why the higher intelligences, as they exist in higher dimensions, that's why they assist us, because we're all interconnected. If we evolve, they evolve. Yes. So that's why they're here helping us, because everything's interconnected. There is no separation in the cosmos. And I'm starting to believe that because we are multidimensional beings, that the higher intelligences, the galactics, and even the intelligences beyond the galactics are higher versions of ourselves here as the ground crew on the Earth. I'm starting to think we're just one, connected oversoul at the highest levels of reality. So there is no distinction between the angels, the archangels, the benevolent races, and us. We're all part of the same oversoul. Eventually, as we all collapse back into the one, we all become, the 12 major monads, the 7, archetypes, and then of course the one prime creator source, who is underlying all of existence.
That's incredible. I love that. That makes a lot of sense. Like, the ground crew, probably in a lower or a thicker density, if I'm using the correct phraseology, but as we can ascend, or all the different levels of ourselves are there. That makes a lot of sense, actually. And just another phrase that you just mentioned that kind of popped out to me was, you said motherverse. Again, so mother is the word 79, which is the same as super. Atomic gold, the number for atomic gold is also 79. The word wonder, like Wonder Woman, you've got Superman, Wonder Woman, etc. But so mother, 79. And then the word verse is 69, which is checkmate, which is people, which is financial. It's that coat check, of the reference I made earlier with the film with Denzel Washington's son sliding under the barrier and then getting the coat. But anyway, if you add those together, that comes coat. So superverse comes to 148, and 148 is a really important number because it's simple gematria, which is the number system that I talk about. 148 is also Donald J. Trump. And so it's also time traveler, the American way of spelling it with the 1L. Emmett Brown from the film Back to the Future is 148. And he talked about remember the 5th of November, because that's when he invented time travel. And November 5th is coming soon, because November 5th is 143, which is Melania Trump. It's the word Kryptonian. So for you, your nickname, we've talked about that before, but 143 is also ground zero. It's building 7. There's my cousin Paul, who passed in 2015, but he's a part of the numbers for me, like my first number decode with him when I met just after I met Ivanka in New York. So there's a lot of things there with that, but just the words, they pop out. That's how it kind of works. It's like, I don't know the numbers on that. I'll do that. And then lo and behold, it kind of dovetails in what we've been on about. So going forward, it looks like we've got a lot of things to look forward to. And so I have these discussions with people a lot, Ismael. I love the ethos of in a twinkling of an eye, how things can change, like the fabric of reality can change. I'm all for that, definitely. That's what I believe is possible. I might be incorrect, but I'm definitely open to that possibility. Others feel that it's going to be kind of more of almost like a mechanical, well, we've got to build everything. It's going to take lots of time because we've got to build this and we've got to repair this. And that seems to be maybe a little bit more in the 3D to me. If we're merging the different levels of reality, of dimensions, I feel like it will be swifter. What's your thoughts on it?
It's a little bit of both. It's already happening in increments. We are shifting. Many believe that a lot of us are already, or the collective rather, whether they know it or not, they're already in the 4th dimension. It's just a matter of getting acclimated to the new consciousness that is associated with the 4th D. But the reason I believe that when we do shift into the 5th dimension as a collective, the reason I believe it's going to happen within a twinkling of an eye is because the entire electromagnetic field of the planet and the structure, the ley lines, is held together through morphogenetic fields, which in turn are held together through vibrations and frequencies. So when the frequency changes, the morphogenetic field of the planet changes also within a twinkling of an eye, and that in turn will also change the matter. The matter as we know it, will be transforming within a twinkling of an eye due to that, I guess, phenomena, and this is proven through quantum physics, that everything, all matter, is held together through frequency and vibration. And the moment the frequency and vibration changes, so does the matter.
Exactly. You hit on some really good points there. So the word matter comes to 77 when you spell it out, which also comes to the word Christ. So that people believe in Christ, but people believe also in the Christ consciousness, and maybe it's a bit of both, or maybe the Christ, quasar is also 77. When JFK, when the events of that in 63, in November 22nd, 63, above the book depository, there's pictures. If you look online, you can see they had an advert above on that building, which was Hertz. So it's saying Christ as well. It's also saying power. But it's also, you said about frequency and vibration. So the word vibrate also equals 77. So Christ equals 77, power equals 77, vibrate equals 77, and Hertz equals 77, and the word matter equals 77. So you've beautifully dovetailed all of those things together for us there, Ismael, because matter is the physical, the proponent of physicality, what it feels like it is, but it's kind of almost not there anyway. It's holographic, but it feels solid, but it's all to do with vibration and frequency, so that's incredible. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I like that it's a bit of both, and maybe I do the twinkle. I've always believed in the twinkling of an eye. That's just kind of how I am. I believe in the magic, the wonder of the cosmos, and I think as well, I think that's partly why we dream. So a third of our lives, we kind of almost, for want of a better word, we unplug from this reality in some ways. We're resting, our mind goes elsewhere, and we're able, and really, why do we do that for, roughly a third of our time? I think it's to connect us to our higher source and to allow us to dream, because I think that's the reality we're going into. We're going into a dreamlike state, or reconnecting to it, because things are sometimes get rough here on the earth. It's kind of slow and clunky, and it's beautiful, but it's slow and clunky and kind of drudge-like. And I think now that we're becoming more and more aware of the possibility of the new earth, I think it feels like it would be great if it was yesterday.
Absolutely.
So what any I guess, words of encouragement to people. I think some of us, it's been a choppy kind of road. Some have had worse experience than others. For the majority of this has been kind of delightful in many ways because of the things that have been revealed. But any thoughts of encouragement to people that, because I can feel it a bit more than maybe I did. Well, we've been doing it for about 2.5 years now, kind of since lockdowns happened, etc. in March of 2020. I can feel the kind of anticipation, the people kind of wanting things to shift. Any thoughts of encouragement to people in terms of where they're at, what they can do? Should they just kind of totally disengage and just relax and let it happen, or should they do kind of active things to kind of make it happen more? It's probably a balance of both. But what's your thoughts? And I don't really say advice, but encouragement to people on what they can do now at this time.
Just be aware that your thoughts and your emotions are co-creating reality. And so when you have enough people thinking the same thing, feeling the same thing, that's the reality that we're going to manifest, because our thoughts are powerful electromagnetic signals that congeal matter. It causes the universe to collapse, into whatever it is that we're thinking. The more energy we put in, or the more focus the more energy we put in our focus, that's what we're going to create in the fifth dimensional Earth. Something to understand about fifth dimensional reality is that our thoughts manifest at the speed of light. So if you are still having difficulty trying to control your thoughts and not think negative thoughts, this is a perfect opportunity to practice mindfulness and mind control. Because once we shift into the fifth dimension, you don't want to create things that you don't want, because of your inability to control your mind. So this is a perfect time to master your thoughts, because ultimately, my friend, we came here to master our emotions and our thoughts by mastering energy, because everything reduces down to energy. Energy is a vibration, it's a frequency, and the universe is that's broken off into 12 different frequencies. So, the more we focus on things that we want, the more we're going to manifest what we want as a collective as well. And the ascension is not really about going anywhere else. It's about anchoring in a new reality here in the now. We're not going to disappear. We're not going to be teleported in a mothership. We're not going to go into a different planet. In fact, the fifth dimensional reality is already all around us. We just don't see it. It's operating on different vibration. So as more of us raise our frequency, we're going to start living in the fifth dimensional reality before the great shift that's going to cause everybody else to go into it. And it's already around us. We're not going anywhere. It's actually more of a multi-dimensional integration. It is a singularity where many dimensional realities are going to collapse into one. And that's what the ascension is all about.
I like that phrase, to get congealing matter and energy. Yeah, I like that. And the speed of thought, the speed of light, being able to manifest instantly. That's incredible. That's what we all want. That's what I can't speak about other people's dreams, but that's kind of what happens when I dream, what I think. And even when we're not dreaming, i.e. sleeping, we're thinking probably in different universes and different reality when we imagine. We're focused at this point in time, but we're not. We're always going off thinking and creating, and there's a time lag, isn't there? There's this time delay. But that would be amazing to be able to create at the drop of a hat, at the blink of an eye. That'd be incredible. I like that a lot. I like that, and it's good to be reminded of it, because sometimes we can just get kind of caught up in the clunkiness, the confusion. But I like that. I like that a lot.
For the most part, a lot of people are asking me what's going on with the kids or the children who are unawake and unaware. Are they going to ascend? And the answer is yes. The children, all the animals are having a free ride. They're all going into, the new earth, the heaven on earth. As far as the adults are concerned, if you're over 18, as long as you're at least 51% good, which means you're not evil, you're not wicked, you're not out there deliberately trying to hurt others, then you will at least make it to the fourth dimension. Now, if you are a person who is at least 75% service to others, not necessarily a monk or a Dalai Lama, but if you're out there just impacting people in a positive way, always being the better person, always being kind, always being a person of integrity, then you have a free ride to the fifth dimension and up, because those are the prerequisites, those are the requirements to exist in the fifth dimension. You have to embody all of that: unity consciousness, love for our neighbors, compassion, respect, unconditional love for all living things. Those are the primary prerequisites that are required to live in a fifth dimensional society.
And in the fourth, when people, if they make it to the fourth, then I'm assuming they have, as long as they keep progressing within that, then they can get to the fifth. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. They're going to have the opportunity to continue progressing throughout the millennium. Yeah.
Excellent. And if people are in the fourth, we talked about the fifth being where you can instantly manifest, and you can co-create with God, with the higher source, with your higher self in the universe instantaneously. What's kind of the difference between, we're here in the third where things take time, there's a time lag. In the fourth, when people want to create things, what's the kind of time lapse, if there is a time lapse for creating? Because there's the fifth, you can just, be like God almost, you can just create at will. So the fourth, what's it like in the fourth for people with their thoughts, with manifesting, with congealing energy and congealing matter? How does that work?
Well, it's definitely going to be faster than the third dimension. The third dimension is the lowest vibrational plane of reality to exist in. I mean, it takes forever. Unless you're really, 100% focused on one thing, then that's how you manifest things faster in the third dimension. But you have to really put all your attention and focus. However, in the fourth dimension, it's going to be a little bit much easier, but it's not going to be instantaneous as it is in the fifth dimension. So things are going to be, the world's going to be better. That's the plane of reality on the earth, where we're going to have replicators. We're going to have healing modalities. We're going to have interstellar technology that are healing to our atmosphere, healing to ourselves. We're going to have technology. External technology that is going to be used by the people in the fourth dimension, because the people in the fourth dimension are not going to have superpowers. They're just going to live for hundreds and hundreds of years. Their lifespan will increase, and they will have no illnesses because of the med beds and the cosmic chambers and all these regenerating healing modalities that are going to be introduced to the humans upon the disclosure. So even within the fourth dimension, it's still going to be somewhat of a heaven on earth.
Excellent. And so is there a time? Is there a general kind of time window for people in the fourth? Say, for example, like another kind of solar flash, people in the fourth, or can they individually, if they work at it, could they say be in the fourth for 6 months and then they upgrade to the fifth, or would it be like, okay, they're like here on Earth, you can kind of get to a certain level, and maybe others can go beyond it, but it seems like you can progress within the parameters of 3D. You can get quite advanced and pretty good at it, but you still know there's a big jump to go to the next level. So is there like another solar flash scenario within the 4D for people to then rise into the fifth, or can they just, once they've got to a certain baseline of getting into the fifth, can they immediately go from fourth to fifth at will, depending upon their own work, etc.?
Yeah, once they get to the fourth dimension, because this is the final flash, the Earth is no longer going to experience any dark ages. We're going to constantly be, we're going to actually be repositioned at the center of the galaxy. So we're going to be always emerge in that photon band, that photon field of energy that comes like a toroidal field, comes from the center of the galaxy. So we're going to be constantly in that because our solar system has already completed 5,500 revolutions or 26,000 year cycles, and so now we're already entering the seventh golden age, which is going to be permanent. So in that era, in that reality, for the fourth dimensional people, they're going to have the ability to advance individually.
Okay.
Everyone's going to be on their own rate. Some people are going to advance faster than others. Yeah. And it's all a matter of continuing raising your frequency.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I like as well, we might have spoken about this before on one of our previous shows, but you talked about we're going to be in the center of the universe. So, Joseph Smith is someone that you're familiar with, and I am. I don't concur to the beliefs I was, or the dogma that I brought up in, but nevertheless, I, take the good things with anything. And he talked about how the Earth fell. So the fall was a rolling out of the Earth from the center of the universal galaxy or the cosmos, and it experienced the fall and went into 3D, and then it will be brought back, it will be rolled back into the center. So that makes a lot of sense with what you said, how we're positioned back in the center. Because he talked about that, a long time ago.
And as a reminder, Joseph Smith was an Arcturian, just like Nikola Tesla. They were extraterrestrials that came into an avatar. But of course, Brigham Young came later as a cabal member and corrupted the church. And right now, even the structure of the Latter-day Saint Church, it kind of appalls me because of the fact that the prophet is still it's preaching the jab, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like the medicine. And to me, that's just, not, in alignment with God,
Yeah. You talk about, so I've known this number for a while, so it's interesting that Joseph Smith, and maybe that's why I have a connection or feeling with Arcturian, because Mark Atwood, he's the one that taught me how to look up into the sky and kind of focus and bring the ships in. I haven't done really any of it here in the US, but definitely the few months leading up to me coming over from the UK, I saw them a lot, saw them regularly. I did one night with my friend Kelly. We were down on the south coast in Bournemouth, and she'd never seen any, but I said, well, this is what Mark teaches. You look up, you focus on a star or something in the sky, you kind of, okay, I'm ready, kind of give it an intention, and then all of a sudden the ships start to move in, and she saw them, and I was like, oh wow. But I think the one that I had kind of a resonance with was, I think it was Arcturian, or Arcturus, the star. It might be, I think it was that one. There's a few others as well, but they seem to be a kind of good way to activate them and get the ships moving around. But the numbers on Joseph Smith and Tesla is really interesting. So if you do Joseph Smith, it's 142. And if you do I am Nikola Tesla, it also comes to 142. So like, I've always noticed that one, and that's pretty cool. But it's interesting how you put both of them together in the same sentence. So that's another kind of nice synchronicity there. So there might be something there with that.
See, we white hats, or ground crew rather, light warriors on the ground crew, we've always kind of worked together throughout the different lifetimes.
Yeah.
In Atlantean times, I wouldn't be surprised if me, you, Michael Jaco, Terabyte Janine, Nicholas Vinny, I mean, if we all knew each other, and we always come as a group, that's why we gravitate towards each other. And that's why we have so much, how can I say, that's why we have such a great resonance with each other, because we always come in clusters.
Yeah.
But the group is obviously much larger. There's millions of the starseeds out there, and eventually we're all going to connect and work as one big planetary network of light.
Yeah. And I've wondered as well. So my friend Rachel writes so blonde, so she's in Iowa, and we've talked about this. I said, well, how come all like kind of the starseeds, the truthers, the light workers, however you want to phrase it, why are we all kind of separated around? Because it'd be kind of easier. There's not really kind of maybe pairs or families that are all kind of, there probably are some, but it seems like a lot of us are kind of individuals, not in all cases, but a lot of us are kind of just sporadically placed around the globe. And I'm thinking about that. It's almost like we're nodes of light. There are others as well that we don't know publicly. They're doing their great work. I'm staying here with a great friend. She's a great light worker. She's not too public on stuff, but she's just as powerful and amazing as people that are doing things publicly. But it seems like we're all kind of spread around the earth, but almost like nodes or of light, to raise it. And I think that's probably deliberate. It's like, okay, you'll be here, Tom. You're going to land here. Ismael, you're over here. Mark, you're over here. Janine, you're over here. Michael, you're over here. Rachel, you're over here. It's just, I think that seems to be a logical way of doing it. And the internet came in so we could connect, because 20 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to do it like this. Maybe we'd have done it through just thought, but it wouldn't have been as kind of to the masses and able to, talk to them individually on their handsets in their homes, like we're able to now. So I think it's just genius. The whole divine plan is just incredible,
It is. And I think we were all spread geographically, strategically, by the higher intelligences, because there are these things called ley lines, and the earth, just like how we have ley lines or meridians of energy lines, so does the earth. And the earth also has chakras, just like we do. The earth has 7 major chakras and 5 minor chakras, and so we are all spread out geographically because we all resonate with one of the many chakras. And that's why we're here to kind of fire up the grid, to raise the vibration through our resonance and frequencies.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit more about the chakras over there? So I know people have different thoughts and understanding on things. I've been told, I haven't really explored it much, but I've heard people say that Ireland, next to England, next to Britain, is the heart chakra of the earth. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that, or maybe there's another heart chakra around it. And maybe if we could look at the basic 7, if they're physical places, that would be interesting to go into if we're able to maybe delve into that a little, Ismael.
Sure. Yeah. So the chakras are levels of consciousness. They're not just energetic vehicles. We have 7 major chakras that are within our body, and then we have 5 minor chakras that exist outside of our body. And the reason those are there outside of our body is because those are levels of consciousness that connect our individualized unit of consciousness. For instance, our 8th chakra connects us with the consciousness field of our planet. Our 9th chakra connects us with the consciousness field of our star. Our 10th chakra connects us with the consciousness field of our constellation. And then, of course, the 11th chakra connects us to the consciousness field of our galaxy. And that kind of corresponds to physicists discovering that our galaxy exists in 11 dimensions. Isn't that interesting, right? It's all coming together now, science and spirituality. And then the 12th chakra connects us to the energetic field consciousness of our entire universe. And then, of course, now we're developing the 13th chakra, which is connecting us to the motherverse, which is awesome.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's also every chakra has a very significant vital role, in our multidimensionality and how everything's interconnected in the cosmos. We're like just, we're cells in the bigger organism known as our universe. And then in turn, our universe is just one gigantic cells with other universes that make up the body of the motherverse. So whichever direction you go, whether it's going downward at the micro level, we have trillions of cells that make up our body. And to our cells, our body is the universe. And see, that's called the holographic concept of reality.
Yeah.
So no matter how you zoom in, it's always breaking off the part. The fractal always contains the whole. And then within each fractal, you break up the fractal. Each fractal of that contains the whole, and it's just infinite.
Yeah, holographic fractal is incredible. It's amazing. You talked about the Earth has 7 chakras and 5 minor chakras. Do we know where the 7 chakras are on the Earth, like the physical locations or regions?
Yeah, they have been located. I think the heart chakra is in Hawaii. I think the throat or chakra is in Mount Shasta in California. Of course, there's one in Egypt where the pyramid is. I don't know if that's the crown chakra or the root chakra, but they're spread out geographically around the earth. And that has been documented. Actually, anyone can research that on the internet if they want to see where the planetary chakras are. And these are normally places where, they've built like megalithic structures like Stonehenge, like the pyramids, like the Nazca lines in Peru. So there's always some sort of a structure building right around these chakras because they're energy vortexes. In some cases, the ancients used them as interdimensional doorways to access other star systems and other worlds.
Wow, that's interesting you say about Hawaii, because I haven't looked into it. I'll need to on where the chakras are. Someone was telling me not long ago they felt the island was a heart chakra. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But you said about Hawaii, and I said at the beginning of the show, I'm thinking of after Utah to go to Hawaii, and I'm like, maybe that's part of the pool. Maybe that's why. Maybe I'm feeling like, okay, I should go there, because I have along this journey, and you probably experienced this with the places you go and everyone back home with the things that they do. It almost feels like a Pokemon Go game to me, when you kind of go along and then all of a sudden something will appear and it's like you tick it off on the box and it's okay, completed, then you're on to the next one. And that's a little bit how the last few years have felt. Places to go, people to meet, things to do, and they seem like they're kind of codes within the game, if you want to call it that, and maybe Hawaii is, maybe that's why, if it's the heart of the earth, maybe that's why I'm feeling like I should go and see it and spend some time.
It seems like the heart of the earth is calling you, Tom. It's calling you to go and experience the vortex there.
Yeah, that's incredible. Because the other thing about the word heart and earth, they're both the same, 52. So 52 is earth, 52 is heart. It's also the word ship. And so we're on a toroidal sphere. I don't know if it's a huge ship as well. I don't know. I'm open to, whatever possibilities could be. I don't know.
Well, due to the fact that the planets and the solar systems are also traveling throughout space around the galactic core, you could say that our planet is one big mothership, And, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is that planets themselves could be piloted out of systems and located into other systems.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Because I've felt that with the mothership. So there's some important numbers on that. So if you do, that's interesting. So we were talking about the Earth ship. So the Earth ship comes to 137, which comes to 17th, it comes to Casino Royale. That's a phrase one uses a lot. Comes to President JFK, even comes to Washington, D.C., and we know that both sides have kind of wanted to capture the numbers. But talking of the mothership, this is an interesting one. So mothership is 164. 164 comes to my buddy Jack Edward Aitken Kidd back in England. He's well known in England, but he popped his head above the parapet a few times and kind of helped recruit kind of our inner group in the UK. And he's a great guy. And but my friend Mark Atwood, someone told me early in this journey, he said, "Oh, you're Mark," meaning an apostle. I don't know if I am or was or not. I don't know, but it was cool. Someone said that. But if you do Mark the Apostle, it comes to 164. Thomas Apostle comes to 164. Right side one, my friend Rachel, comes to 164. Jack Edward Aitken Kidd comes to 164. But also Mothership comes to 164. And then some have said that the New Jerusalem is the mothership. So if we play along with that idea, so the New Jerusalem's 146. Ivanka Trump 146. Yeah. I met her behind the Del Vecchio Plaza when I got a photograph with her in 2015, and Del Vecchio Plaza is 146. So that was like a nice marker on when I met her. But the New Jerusalem comes to 179. And if you drop the one or just do 1 times 79, that comes to the word mother, which we've spoken about, which is 79, super 79, wonder 79, atomic gold 79. But if you do the mothership, the New Jerusalem, so 164 plus 179, that comes to 343, which comes to President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Because John Fitzgerald Kennedy is 233, but if you add the word president, it's 110. 110 is magic power, the Christ, as in, the consciousness, the quasar, the matter, the Hertz, which was above the book depository where he was in 63. But 343, which is a beautiful kind of palindromic number, 343. And I did a show with Janine maybe a year and a half ago about this. And I asked her, is JFK, is he present? Is he kind of almost like a Captain Kirk kind of character on the mothership, on the New Jerusalem? And she got a lot of positive reads on that. I just felt that could be the case in many ways. And you're smiling, so maybe you got some thoughts and insight on that.
Well, the Kennedys do come from the lineage or the bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's interesting. That's very cool. Do you get any other thoughts on JFK, where he is? I mean, I did a read with Janine again recently, and someone else as well. Was it someone else talking about this? About how sometimes JFK, the real JFK, number one, the first JFK, is sometimes here, sometimes he's elsewhere on other, I think sometimes on the moon, sometimes on other planets, sometimes on the mothership and other places. And was it you that it might have been you and me on the last one. I can't remember, when we were talking about President Trump going to other planets. Yeah, I think it was you. Yeah. So it seems like the Kennedys and the Trumps have this ability to be here, but also to go to other parts of the solar system and maybe beyond, and maybe they're on these ships as well. Well, if they can go to Mars and they can go to Jupiter, or then go to the moon or other places, I'm sure they can be, literally beamed up onto the ships as well, and take presidential kind of positions in that sometimes.
Yeah, that is true. The Kennedys and the Trumps have had access to, advanced technologies because of the fact that Trump's uncle, John Trump, was, he was a white hat, and he was connected with John F. Kennedy, or the dad, I guess, of Kennedy. And I'm sorry, no, the father, Joseph Kennedy, was actually a black hat. It was Kennedy that was a white hat. And I think he betrayed his father, because his father, see, that's the thing. Nobody really talks about Kennedy's father, John's father. He was actually used to be a white hat, and he was compromised by the dark hats. Okay. And, that's a different story. But the whole point is, yes, the Kennedys are going to and from our, world to different stations in our solar system. They're definitely going off world, just like the Trumps are.
Okay. So that would make that, there's a correlation that then with the 164, the mothership, and 179, the New Jerusalem, because that's 343, which is President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. That makes sense. Yeah. Wow. there's a lot. Is the truth is stranger than fiction. It's incredible. And so maybe we could, before we close off, maybe we could talk a little bit more about super soldiers. And so you've expressed how you were, the Kryptonian super soldier, and there's others that is it James Rink?
James Rink, yeah.
Yeah, apparently he was the Hulk, and there's others, and so that that resonates. It makes a lot of sense. It's like, yeah.
Well, it's all revealed through the Marvel comics, through Shield, and
yes,
the Avengers. So there's different levels of super soldiers. There are local super soldiers that were, whether it was through genetically alterations that took place here when they were part of what is called the MyLab programs, or whether they were taken off world and then genetically enhanced. There's just different levels of super soldiers. James Rink worked for, I believe he worked for Solar Warden. So he was probably in MyLab. He was probably, abducted by the military when he was a kid, and he went through some training, right? He had experience a lot of the stuff that he went through in order to prepare him for his mission. Whereas myself, I was part of an off-world program that was involving other universes. It's a branch of Radiant Guardians. And so how it worked with me is that part of the time of my gestation, I was in a mothership in a petri dish. And then of course my mother, was still, they used her egg, you could say they used her egg. Archangel Michael provided the sperm. And then of course they kept taking me out of, or transplanting me from her stomach over to the petri dish to modify, genetically splice and dice and, add and delete. And pretty much it was all about gene editing. In my situation. So I was mostly on a petri dish where I was developed, but at the end they transplanted me back into my mother's womb right before she gave birth to me. And even when they gave birth to me, the doctor said there was complications, and they had to give me some plastic vein in the my right ankle, which is in the symbol of the winged disc. It's kind of interesting. And so there's different levels of super soldiers. I think right now they're on the 11th prototype, or 11th or 12th prototype.
And is that always from that's always the Galactic Federation that will do that will kind of engineer the super soldier, or am I saying that right? The Galactics or the Galactic Federation?
Yeah, well, for those that are associated with Solar Warden and Radiant Glory, yes, the Galactic Federation is involved with the white hats and stuff. But those that are like my group, the group that I was a part of, which was only consistent of 100 individuals, both females and males. We were mainly working with the beings of the Rock Confederacy, like the Blue Avians, the Brigideds, the Azurites, and these are beings that are beyond our galaxy. They come from harmonic universe number 4, which are beings that exist in dimensions 10, 11, and 12. So the Galactics only embody dimensions 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Beyond the 9th dimension or 10th dimension, then you have higher dimensional beings that are beyond the galaxy, and they actually oversee what's going on within the galactic sphere. So even the galactic councils themselves answer to higher orders, but ultimately, collectively, all the forces of light band together as the Emerald Covenant or the Emerald Order. They're also known as the Melchizedek Cosmic Order of Celestial. Celestial organization, Melchizedek Brotherhood, Sisterhood. So those are different terminologies that describe all the forces of light collectively.
Yeah, Melchizedek, very cool. With that, have there been dark soldiers that were created as well? Dark super soldiers to kind of counterbalance the super soldiers, or were the super soldiers, because they were had such high abilities and only a few in number, they were able to counterbalance a lot of the lower level stuff, the darker stuff that had been going on?
Yeah, so the dark programs they began with the Project Omega. And of course, Omega is like the main title of the AI god. So it had a lot to do with merging their enhancement tied into to merging with technology through nanotech, biotech, and of course, artificial intelligence. So the super soldiers that were used in the Dark Fleet programs and the interplanetary corporate conglomerate were working with the Draco and the artificial intelligence. So they were genetically enhanced. They're actually the cyborgs. They are the cyborgs that were made in the 50s and 60s, and they have been misrepresenting us. They have been going to different galaxies and conquering worlds, worlds that aren't sufficiently evolved, that are still kind of primitive, because they're big bullies up there in different galaxies. And so, that's one thing that we're going to have to deal with at the end of the millennium, is we're going to have to go and correct all the stuff that they've done.
So they're still existing in other places and will have to be rectified at some future point.
They've been kicked out of our galaxy. As of like maybe 6 months ago, there was a huge galactic cleansing that took place, where they took some of our super soldiers to go combat their super soldiers, and then they were eliminated. But from what I understand is that there are still several other galaxies where they're still active, and they're misrepresenting us. They still wear the Nazi flag, and they're coming in the name of humanity, and it's just a small group, and poor species out there in these other galaxies. They think that we're evil because of them. They're just misrepresenting us.
Okay, so by and large they're gone from here, but they're out in other world systems.
Yeah.
You talk of the 100 that you were created with. Are you aware, or are you in communication with some of the other 100, the male and the females, here on the Earth, or is there a proportion of them in other star systems, or is it 100 that are here right now to help with the ascension?
Right, yeah, they're all here right now, and there's we sometimes connect via telepathy. Sometimes we have common dreams where we're both dreaming. All of us, I'm sorry, we're dreaming the same thing.
Okay.
That's how I got some of my memories back, was through the dreams, and of course downloads, and that came in flashes, here and there. Yeah.
Are some of them people that we would know within this community? Or any other 100 within it?
The 99 other people that I worked with, I haven't seen them out in the open yet.
Okay.
I think I'm the only one, so I'm kind of like putting myself out there. Which is fun. I have special protection. I also have a defense mechanism that was installed in my genetics in the event that they try to take me out. Some of my super soldier abilities become activated, and then I just, I use telekinesis, or I shoot laser through my eyes, and they're gone.
Okay. Yeah. Have you had to do any of that in like this since you've come out in the last 3 or 4 months, since you've kind of, been in people's minds? Have you had to do any of that?
Not necessarily to that extent, but I have had a lot of psychic attacks. I'm getting them on a daily basis, but luckily I do protect myself in a blue sphere. I do ground myself, and I'm always invoking the presence of Michael, my guides, and my ancestors to always protect me. So, but I do feel these psychic attacks, Tom. I feel them daily. There's a lot of people out there, not a lot, but there's some people out there that are performing like black magic on me and stuff, and I could sense it because I'm very intuitive. But I'm like, psh, psh, psh.
Yeah, off you go. Yeah. Well, I hope you continue. Well, sending good thoughts to you, man. You continue to be protected.
Yes, brother,
sorry, say again.
Oh, likewise.
Thank you.
To be protected. Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. We all need it. I felt that intrinsically, since this all really kind of consciously began, that we're protected. I felt that. I was like, yeah, we're protected. You might get a few kind of pokes and bumps and stuff, but by and large, we're protected, and may that continue and become even stronger. You talked about some protection. So the word you mentioned, shield, with Avengers. What's the name of that guy that comes up at the end of the films and tells them basically kind of the next mission? But who's the guy from shield? I can't remember his name, but the one in the suit. Can't remember his name.
I think he goes by Agent. Oh God, I forget his name. I know he's the guy who wears the patch, right? He wears the patch.
Oh, that's the Samuel Jackson. Yeah, there's him, and then there's the other guy that it's just kind of playing on the suit.
Agent Colby or Coben or something like that. Starts with a C.
Okay, I'll have to look him up. But something that pops up. So the word shield, SHIELD, comes to 57, which is Tesla. And we were talking about Nikola Tesla, and 57 is also George. 57 is England, Mary. So you've got a lot of things, you've got biblical things. You've got the Kennedys with the George magazine. England, that's where I'm from, 57. But Shield, 57, is Tesla, and so I assume there's a lot of Tesla technology that's been used or wisdom and understanding been used in the Shield program, the Avengers program, the Super Soldier program. There's also a biblical phrase that is interesting that I hadn't looked at before like this. So they talk about the shield of faith. So you've got the armor of God, and you've got the shield of faith, and you've got the sword of truth, and all those things. But the so shield of faith. I think it's the shield of faith. I'm pretty sure it's the shield of faith. So shield of comes to 78 Kennedy October and win that. And podcast, we're doing a podcast 78. And then faith is 44, which comes to 122, which comes to America First. It comes to Millennium. We've spoken about that. And if you do the shield of faith, so you add that to it, 33, takes you to 155, which comes to the Millennium. It also comes to the word, I think we're okay in saying it, but I'll say it in code. So the thing that came in at the beginning of 2020, CEV, that word, and it was in everyone's mind, that comes to 155 as well, which is the Millennium. So I saw that very early on. I was like, this has all been thrust upon people's consciousness. But the flip side of it is it's taking us into this 1,000 years of peace. But also the word singularity comes up, 155. And I know people say some people said that's a bad thing. And I don't know enough about it.
Well, there's a difference. There's a difference between the technological singularity, which is when AI reaches a level of intelligence that is incredibly beyond us. That's called the technological singularity, which is something that is evil, of course, And then there's the natural singularity, which has to do with the collapsing of the dimensional realities into one, collapsing our chakras into the single white light, activating the light body.
Got it. See, and that's the one that I was thinking of. Yeah. Or hoping that would be the case. Yeah, so that's good. Thanks for that clarification. Because as with all of it, there's a dark and a light side of it. So I like that you brought that up. So yeah, the shield of faith is 155. 155 is the Millennium, and 155 is singularity, i.e. the good one, the natural one. So that's really cool. And I guess that will happen when we have the solar flash, or shortly thereafter, or simultaneously with it.
Simultaneously with the solar flash. Yeah.
Okay. Bring on the solar flash, I'd say. Yeah, bring it on. Well, any concluding remarks before we say cheerio for this episode? It's been a lot of fun. It's been really good. It's been refreshing and informative and inspiring. So thank you.
You're welcome, my brother. Just for those that haven't had an opportunity to order my book, it's available on Amazon. It's taking the world by storm. It is a book that reveals information beyond this world. It fills in a lot of gaps, especially for those that have been doing the research for years and are still trying to put the puzzle pieces together in regard to the greater cosmic scheme of things. That is definitely a book to read. I am booked till December. As far as like my classes are concerned, I do teach a starseed cosmology course where we go in depth and studying about the different races out there, their characteristics, their qualities. We go over dimensions. We go over chakras. We go over galactic history in detail, cosmic structure, and beyond. And of course, I also teach you a technique, or rather, two of my techniques that I've used that have allowed me to connect with my galactic self. And that is available for December. I still have some openings for those that want to take my course. I could give you the link. It's called Starseed Cosmology Course.
We'll put it down below. One of these times I'll have to get on the course and we've got time and availability. It'll be fun. Good stuff, man.
Kristen took Kristen, Jason, and Kristen, the twins from Archon Short.
Yeah.
Kristen took my course about a month ago and she really liked it.
Oh, excellent. Good. Yeah, I'll have to do it at some point. That'll be awesome. Well, thanks, Ismael. Godspeed, brother. We'll see you soon, and have a good one. And click the links below. And do subscribe to the Tom Numbers Show and Site Club here on YouTube. Make sure you're double subscribed, i.e. click the notification bell. And I think, Ismael, you've got your YouTube as well that I'll put up. And everyone do that.
Real channel, not the pirated ones. I have like 100 of those.
Yeah. I'll put the real one up. You've sent me that, so we'll put the real one up. And
thank you.
Good stuff. Thanks, Ismael. Always a pleasure. See you soon, buddy.
All right, take care and have fun in Utah tomorrow or tonight.
I will. I'll get there, and probably by the time it's I think we might be able to get up before we get on the plane. We'll see if we can, and then maybe Hawaii, the heart chakra. Seems to be calling. Yeah. Why not? Have you ever been?
Never to Hawaii. I've been to Utah, but never to Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, Utah's 50. It's Donald. Get this. So this is an interesting one. So I think we're in agreement that, Joseph Smith was a good guy and then it got changed over. And I can say that more freely because I haven't been, regularly associated with the faith for about best part, well, over a decade. I think that prepared me for now, because it would have been too kind of clunky and energetically attached to it. So I had to transition out of it. But the Book of Mormon has become popular in culture because of that play. I love the Book of Mormon play. So I did that. I remember when I discovered this. So early lockdown, I was doing the numbers, and I saw in Leicester Square the Book of Mormon Theatre in London. And I was like, I wonder what Mormon is. And I was blown away when I realized that the word Mormon comes to 88, which comes to Trump. And I was like, oh, this is okay. Then I went further into it, and Salt Lake City, which is kind of the, Mormon headquarters, comes to 138, comes to Donald Trump, comes to revaluation, comes to the Savior, comes to Dome of the Rock, comes to the pyramids, but it comes to 138, Donald Trump. And then I looked at Utah, and Utah comes to 50, which is Donald, which is Paul, my cousin, Eileen, my grandmother. They've been personal, messengers for the numbers for me. But then I looked at the Book of Mormon, and the Book of Mormon comes to 185, comes to Donald John Trump. And even Salt Lake Temple, I think it's the Salt Lake Temple, comes to 185, Donald John Trump. And I'm like, okay, wow. And so, I don't know, there's timelines, things got kind of, unfortunately, got corrupted like most things in the world. But intrinsically, it's my firm belief that things were good when Joseph Smith brought it in. I think he was ahead of his time and was good, and that's what it feels like to me anyway. So I think that's maybe a little part of my mission, to help people in Utah and the bigger global membership kind of understand that. The other thing is, I went on a mission for the church when I was a young man in my early 20s, 19 to 21, and I went to Scotland, which is also 88. So I was a Mormon in Scotland, 88, and Trump. And in Mormon culture, you've got the Trump of Moroni, and the Trump fell off during lockdown. And I saw that, and I was, oh, that's a marker, So I understood that, just like the kind of black mark on the palace at Buckingham Palace. And it was an earthquake. Earthquake is 107, which is Trump's military 107, quantum 107. So I was like, So these things became very clear early on, and it gives me no joy and pleasure saying it, but I think I've been able to hopefully subtly point it out to people, and I have, because they've written back and they've been grateful for that. But it was just things that were shown me and downloaded to me, and but anyway, so I think intrinsically it was good, and all things will be restored and repaired. And Joseph Smith talked about going back to the center of the universe, and things might get changed completely. We'll see what happens, but they're good people, and I've got a lot of good friends there, so I'm looking forward to going. So Utah and then Hawaii. Yeah.
Have fun, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Ismael. Speak soon. Take care. God bless. Bye.